Hello, hello, hello. I am here, happy Sunday, because I started hearing some of your questions alongside my own desire to just play with some color on this rainy Sunday afternoon. And I felt the to-do list kind of knocking on the door. And um, some of you have asked me as you join into the community, like, how do you paint consistently? How do you overcome resistance? It's very familiar, right, to hear um, any of us. I know I experience this too. Like, I have this desire to paint and I can't get myself to do it. So I thought I would model for you what I am doing and offer some prompts, as well as in a little bit, I'm going to explain this card. But first, I just want to address the overcoming resistance. Um, Couple things. I'm going to be quick and then we'll see where this heads. Um, One, the resistance, when you want to paint and you're feeling the resistance, I would invite you to get super curious. What is underneath that resistance? What is the fear? Well, if I take the time to paint and I don't paint anything good, then I wasted this precious free time that I could have been doing something else, right? So something around there. It's something around being product oriented, being good enough, being productive in how you use your time. And I'd like to suggest that this painting practice, as well as I believe all the arts, are actually here to help create for us time that is not productive, that does soften the edges and the boundaries and gets us out of our go, 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 do, do, do. So I am sitting, just to give you an idea, because the other thing we tell ourselves, right, is like, I need the space. So I have a whole studio out there. I have another kind of studio room in here. It's so funny. But sometimes you just want to like sit in your current favorite place. So I did this big card reading the other day because I have a lot going on with Great Mother March and the new coaching training starting and the retreat coming up, and I'm traveling for another retreat with a group of women I circle up with, including Alexis Cohen and Amber Cugliamani Bonici and Laura Hollick's not coming, she's virtually coming. Anyway, so like there's a lot going on, right? So I picked cards, just what do I need to know right now? And I have this whole little panel of cards here. And then I've been sitting down every day with my pendulum. Okay, which card do you want me to meditate on now? And that's been really fun. I haven't done that before. So I'm just sitting here on my yoga bolster, on my sheepskin with the oracle cards. And I brought in a couple of my journals, and I want to just share, and this is unique to my painting practice ish, how like subtle little shifts, right? But since exploring and diving into the creative frequency this time last year and a little previous, getting ready and creating the whole new training, um, I was surprised at the emphasis on playfulness. The playfulness, it feels related to the subtle art of not giving a fuck. It's like how to create just with pure freedom and just to play with color, right? Color is always my thing. So, like, what I've been doing, and I'll give you a couple different examples, is I've been going to the art journal and painting a layer kind of here and there. So, this underlayer of acrylic came first, I think, and then I added some of these stencils and then like the hearts and whatever this black is. Like, I don't even remember if that was a soul scribble or if this is actually something starting. That looks kind of interesting. That now I see kind of angel wings. I could turn this into angel wings. That's fun. Um, so what's happening is I've created these pages that are almost like a palette right? Like sometimes I do that now. I put my paint, instead of putting it on a palette, I put it on one of these pieces of paper. And I wanted to show you this one. Where is it? There was a painting I did here. Oh, this was one of my favorite. Actually, I think it goes like this. Kind of creative frequency. Just playing with color and shape and exploring. This feels very related to this, actually. Maybe we'll come back to that. And there was another one in here that I did that felt like, well, I love this one as well. This is just watercolors. This is a couple different layers. So if you're feeling like, oh, I want to paint, but I don't want to get everything out or whatever, I want to encourage you to just go to, whether it's a canvas, a piece of paper, your art journal, and just doodle with color for like 5-10 minutes. And then if you decide to carry on, that's great. This is another fun way that I kind of got the paints out. So this is 108 marks. So this was connected to doing mantra. So every time I did the mantra, first I did one of these little watercolor blobs. Then the next time I did it, I outlined each blob with a color. And then I also went in with a dark pen. And I just did this over this scribble drawing that started, I must have been demonstrating it. But that's a super fun way, like doing the mantra and painting the mantra. And then it's like permission to just play with color. Here's kind of another first layer. Here's one that turned into, like, I love her. Look at her. Can you see, like, and her just kind of funny arms. And so I end up painting things that I would never paint otherwise. So all of these are just to kind of give you permission to just play with color. And so what I found happens, including this painting, hold on, this, like, my latest favorite painting that just came out as a result of doing that kind of playfulness outside on the lawn with my daughter, that led to the aha that we're each like a shooting star. Woo! So fun. But this started just with, like, kind of get rid of her face, just the layers and layers and layers. I think I posted just the same kind of doodle, but then a little face popped through. So in other words, you can end up with paintings that you love that I'm like trying to find a place to hang her up. And it starts with just freedom. And I do believe we all have enough, like, structure and things to do and parameters. We don't need more with our creative practice. We need or desire to kind of dissolve those edges and boundaries. This is another thing that I've done, and I forgot to bring in the paper. And I have a YouTube video. I think it's right, like, in the featured video if you go to my YouTube channel. So these kind of future oracle cards came from, and let me try and find a blank one, came from just a piece of paper. This is Yupo paper, which is just kind of this shiny, I guess that is one. So, like, I think this is one I still haven't done. So I just painted with, I think this is acrylic inks on a big piece of paper. There were a couple of them. And then I cut them up and then ended up turning them, just looking to see what I see, or also capturing some of my favorite yantras. So that's a feather that I haven't finished yet, or a dragonfly. So these are another fun way. This is one of my favorite. Of course, I love the Buddha. Another fun way to just allow the process to build on itself, right? So you're initially going to the journal or a piece of paper and just spilling color and playing with color. And then it's like, oh, maybe I cut it up and see what I see. And I can pop in and do one of these in just a little bit of time, right? So that is kind of what I wanted to offer. And then I wanted to share this, what happened with this card, the source card, and offer this as a painting meditation. So Not sure. I can't see any comments. I don't know if anyone's here. And I'm not sure Sundays are like this big day that everybody's on Facebook, but I was just in the moment and wanted to share, right? So I'm going to probably tilt my screen a little bit, and I'm going to speak to this source card as I paint. And I'm not really sure, so I'm looking through my journal. I have multiple of these journals happening right now. Like here's another one. I think this is a symbol for gratitude. I think it goes like that. But this I just did again over another kind of doodly page. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna look, this one has kind of a fox started. So I could just paint on this now. It's kind of a coloring book style. Um, here's another, oh, here's the liberating the inner demons. I loved that, aha. This one kind of came about as a result. You can see the underlayers, and then I had this idea. It was like kind of all of us standing on the shoulders of the women that came before us, kind of thing. So you could go to a page that you already have, or you could create a new page. I think since I'm going to attempt to talk while I'm doing this, I'm just going to start a new page because that feels easiest. And so why not? Except that this, okay, maybe we'll fill in. I'm going to paint over this. So this is where I was coming up with the logo for the Creatively Fit, Creative Frequency Coaching. So I'm going to offer a painting meditation as we paint together. So I'm going to scooch this in. So you could pause this and get out your art journal or canvas and then come back to it. And we're going to go into this source. We'll see. We'll see what comes up. Okay. And then I'm just going to model. This looks a little, but I want to get like, I don't want to have this page anymore. I want it to be full of color. So I'm going to tilt this. And I'm doing this mostly I'm not doing this to be like, watch me paint. I'm doing this to say, this is how irreverent you can be with this practice. And this is how you can do it anywhere. I'm also drinking, I'm going to put in a plug for greatmothermarch.com/shop. I'm drinking my adaptogenic cacao yummy spicy drink. I just want to make sure it doesn't get too cold. And I'm going to try not to dip my brush in my adaptogenic drink. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just even going to sprinkle some of these colors on my journal. So I would invite you to do the same. And this is very much like as your creative frequency coach, as a creative frequency coach, I would advise this kind of playfulness. Now, I'm also going to pick colors that I don't normally put together. So this is actually one of my favorite colors. It's I can barely pronounce it, quinacridone nickel azo gold. Like, geez, let's make it more complicated of a name. But I'm going to put this down that I don't normally necessarily include. So again, I am sitting places where I don't want paint to drip, and then if it does, great. And then here's a gouache that one of the coaches who was at my place, Chantal, last year for the retreat, you left me some of your favorite colors, which I love. And so this is a very pale green, and I'm just going to put some of this down. So I'm just going to start with this, and I'm going to use this time to simply get into this creative frequency mode where you're just You're just playing, just like a little kid might play. And I love when you put the colors on the paper like this and let them pick up on each other. Wow, the turquoise and this gold is very cool. Now, I want to offer, as we paint, an idea to muse on that was inspired by this source card. So again, what happened when I pulled this card, I was guided. It was like someone whispered to me, like, go into that darkness, like go to the source. So as you paint, just bring into your awareness this word source. And granted, we're painting with color, so like the whole darkness thing. Wow. Okay, fluorescent pink and this gold color are freaking fabulous. Now, what I heard when I first pulled that card was go into the dark, and anything that still exists when you go into this blackness is truth, is you. And anything that cannot follow you into the darkness, like if you went into true dark, like in the true dark, stuff doesn't matter. What you are wearing, what you look like doesn't matter. Stuff, even, and this is, like this painting doesn't matter. So then, as people who love to create, but then I'm reminded of one of the things that I'm so convicted about, which is that we're not creating anymore, because I say so, to create pretty pictures, like to make product. We're creating to invite in our own creative frequency. We're creating because what I know to be true, like I know, is that my life is richer, is more courageous, is calmer when I'm in touch with my creativity. If I'm not creating, and this is what a parent told me at my art center decades ago, that you're either in any moment a creator or a consumer. So when I'm creating, I'm not looking outside of myself, and in the way that we teach this creative practice, it's not about painting like somebody else. It's about exploring and learning how to perceive and live with a deep, intimate inner connection to who you are, to the wisdom inside, the voice, the truth inside. So in this dark source space where none of this is visible and none of this needs you, you don't have to vacuum, which I do need to vacuum. Let's be clear. But, right, like none of the material stuff matters. So how much time do I might think to myself, spend on tending to the material aspect of my life, which of course is necessary because I am a physicalized being, But where am I putting maybe more emphasis on that? And some of that energy wants to come back to what is going on within me, right? Like, how do I feel? How am I meeting these times? What do I know to be true that wants to come into my awareness? And that requires me to get quiet and to get alone. And then the incredible courage and confidence we can live with, which doesn't mean we live with it all the time. I don't live with it all the time. But whenever I tap into this creative practice, it's like I'm flooded with ideas. There's only hope. And this creative frequency is now like the conductor of my life, like steering the ship, right? Instead of someone's voice from the past or a fear, that fears get invited into our awareness constantly, especially these days. So go into that darkness, and what remains as you paint, just to doodle, like just with no attachment to outcome. What does exist? What am I doing here? What am I creating here that would survive that darkness? Can I live even more intimately with what is true? What is true for me? Really knowing and understanding myself. Painting becomes a way of knowing, a meditation, energy work. So just me taking the time to do this is inviting in a different frequency than the never-ending to-do list knocking on the door, right? Ooh, it's thundering outside. Love the thunder. What do these shapes make me think of? What do the colors make me think of? Or can I just dissolve into the present moment and not try and process the dark, the source, any of these abstract concepts? What if I meant to just love watching dragging this light green through the turquoise? What if I meant to face that inner critic, to hear myself say like, oh my gosh, I am really not good at this? What if that's exactly what your creative frequency wants you to hear, so that you can choose whether or not to continue to entertain those critical thoughts, because maybe they're keeping you small or keeping you from creating more of what you want from the inside out. I'm seeing this pink. Look at where this pink, so this is like what I do. You see where this pink and this turquoise are meeting and this purple that's happening? Oh my gosh. So sometimes I just paint until I realize that I'm not thinking about anything else. And then normally, geez, I get ideas, get out the art journal. It's like this painting practice becomes like this little tune-up, check-in almost like going to get x-rayed or something. It's like, what is percolating inside of me? What do I want to explore more closely in the no-thingness? Just paint no-thing. Ooh, look at the dots. Oh my gosh, what is it about dots on a painting? Ugh. So the creative frequency wants you to do this. So as your creative frequency coach, I prescribe to you all doodling 3 different pages in your journal. And over the next week. And use different color combinations in each journal page, and so that, you know, they all have different palettes. And then practice just observing yourself. And I want to invite you to not paint anything, just to paint shape and to practice non-judgment, to practice playfulness, to practice just going within and getting quiet. And where do you find delight? Just in the spaces. Another thing, when I start to think, oh, maybe this is going to get too busy, is I'll go to a smaller brush, because this whole area is I don't know. It feels like this. When I do another layer, I'll kind of add some different shades of color into this big area of turquoise. What does this make me think of? In this darkness, it's like there's no thing, and then there's also everything, right? Like anything could come into your awareness in that darkness. Anything. Okay, I'm going to look for some thick fluorescent pink and put it in this turquoise. And make a pretty purple. And then bring the purple out here. And then, like, if I find myself thinking too hard or worried that some of you are going to be like, well, gee, Whitney, that I didn't really need any super duper instruction to do that. But can you just detach and surrender and create and play? And what happens for you when you do that? When you get really present? When you stop caring if it's good or not? What happens? I bet you're going to end up recognizing that you're thinking different thoughts, that you're going to look at something in your life a little differently, or some beautiful wisdom will come through. Maybe like this just made me think of rivers and the confluence. The confluence is where the rivers come together. What rivers in your life are coming together? And like, what is this in your life? What is this? And then just chuckle. Lots of chuckles. Lots of lightness of being. Lots of curiosity. And it's in these moments, actually, they've found, the ahas happen, the breakthroughs happen. Something will come into your awareness that is meant to come into your awareness because you've created this kind of blank space. It's almost like this is a blank space. Okay, I can't resist. I don't typically paint with golden, but this little container I have has been pretty handy. And if you're traveling, these little transparent high flow acrylics, they go a long, long way. So you can get a set of those. And so adding the white, what does that do? What does that make you think of? I just wanted to create more variety in the shade of color. Ooh. And it's kind of like bringing the first layer back up. Circles. It's like a little ghost. Whoa. We're not to Halloween yet. Jeez. Okay, everybody. So I hope some of you that have been curious whether you are the ones that asked the question or not about how do I motivate myself to paint, and I would think almost less about that question and more about like, what is the fear that the resistance is somehow connecting to a fear. And I think it usually has to do with a fear of, like, time is precious and I've got so much to do, and if I paint, then, you know, and I'm just doodling and Whitney tells me to just play, that will be a waste of time. And what I'm telling you, dear human, is that part of what makes you human is the time spent letting go of the and dissolving into color, dissolving into your creative frequency. And when you do that and reemerge back into the world, like to vacuum, you're doing it in alignment with this energy of no-thingness and everythingness. There's space. You've created space within you. You've created it. It's your realm. That's where your sovereignty comes from. That's where your inner knowing, access to your highest wisdom, it all comes from within. And this is like calling it up. Who am I in this darkness? If I'm not a body, if I'm not a name, if I don't have to take care of any of the physical stuff, who am I then? That you, that's where the inner peace is. That's what I am just understanding in this moment too, that's what we anchor into when life is going crazy around us. We anchor in to that source, that space that isn't dependent on anything outside of you, that is boundless and limitless, and wanting to create in your life with you. And I love that this is surrounded by a rainbow too, right? It's like going into the dark to see more clearly, going into your colors, doodling and playing to know yourself more clearly, to detach from this highly product-oriented, pressurized reality we've created, to weaving into it, the nothingness and the everythingness, the possibility. It kind of shakes the edges, the boundaries loose so that there's room for things to morph and change, right? Sounds like there's a dance party wanting to happen next. Okay, 35 minutes. I can't wait to hear. Please comment below and let me know how this met you. This invitation to play, to detach from product, to create in your art journal pages that you can then pop back into. So like when this dries on another day, I'll come back in and maybe it'll become a bear or an owl or just another layer of doodling and abstraction, maybe with a different medium. And all along, it's creating this frequency where you can delight in a single moment for something that came out of you. Oh, so good. Okay, sending lots of love. Happy Sunday.